I want to go ahead and just say Rick Rubin and Larry Smith. I already have them like somewhere else. They're not on this countdown because how pivotal they are to
Rick
hip hop
Rubin's
production.
on here.
I just feel like Rick Rubin just didn't have enough. And you know what? I didn't feel like I could fairly place Rick Rubin or Larry Smith. You know what I mean? Just based on how early they were to the party. And that's no disrespect. So it's like they're on the list but not on the list. Kind of like on some Melly Mel, Kool Mo D type shit, right?
No, I don't understand.
Easy Mo B is my 26. Let me just say that.
26 or 25?
26. I put DJ Mustard at 25.
You got Mustard at 25?
He had a moment, man. Like, it was a moment where everything you heard was on some DJ Mustard. He had an identifiable sound, and you know what I'm saying? He had a time, and not everybody can say that.
What's Mustard's best album or beats? Okay.
I would say YG's breakthrough album.
That's not good enough to make this list. Mike,
Okay.
real quick, just want to go through some of Rick Rubin's production credits. Walk This Way, Rock the Bells, It's Yours, My Adidas, It's Tricky, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Paul Revere, Fight for Your Right. He's in the top 25. Rock the Bells still plays, Mike.
Rock the Bells is special.
So is Walk This Way.
Of course he's top
These
25.
are groundbreaking.
They are. I just didn't know where to put him or Larry Smith. I mean, I could say the same thing about Larry Smith.
The guy that did Bad and License to Ill isn't on this list, Mike. And,
Again.
in Run DMC's first two albums? First two, right?
No, he didn't do the whole. No, Larry Smith did the first two. Larry Smith's the one that did the albums. He did the Houdini's album that had Freaks Come Out at Night, Friends, One Love. So clearly I'm not slighting them in that sense.
Feels kind of
I just
slightish.
want to put them somewhere else because of how early they were. You know what I mean? That's it.
You're wild.
No, that's why I wanted to go ahead and just get that
Got
out
Mustard
the way.
on this list? Okay, just keep going, Mike.
All right. So, what did I say? Yeah. Mustard. All right. And I got Timbaland at 24, actually.
That's cool.
And I got Timbaland at 24 before people go crazy is because we're talking about hip-hop producer. If we were talking about all-around producer, this would be something else, right? Timbaland's this high up because his hip-hop catalog really isn't like that. Trackmasters. Then I got Eric Sermon.
Where's Eric Sermon at?
Hold on 1 second. He's actually at 22.
It might be a little.
Then I got DJ Quick.
You got Quick that far back?
I do. There's a lot of great producers who've done this, man.
Mike list trash. Mike list trash. This a trash list. He got DJ. You got DJ Quick where?
I think DJ Quick's at about 21, looks like. Something like that.
I'm out.
All right, I got Mike Wilmade. Yep.
You fucking serious, Mike?
Yeah, man, you know.
Are you fucking
He
serious?
has some hits, man.
Keep going, Mike.
Then I got DJ Muggs. Then I got Manny Fresh. Then I got Just Blaze. Then I got Organized Noise, Bomb Squad, The Alchemist, Havoc, Metro Boomin. Yeah, I know you're gonna hate that. Then I got Dilla.
You got Metro over Havoc. How?
You know how many records Metro has?
You just said earlier on, and we had a whole conversation about albums.
Yeah.
Where's Metro's infamous Hell on Earth Murder Music at?
Well, where is Havoc's, individual solo spots of what Metro's done?
And what are we usually weighted on when it comes to the MC?
He was in a group though.
Ain't nobody trying to hear all
He
that.
was in
What
a
are
group-
we usually
because this
weighted
is the-
on,
but
Mike?
this is the
You
thing.
wild.
This is why I weighed it out this way, right? Because Havoc's stuff is based on him being in a group. Who else has he made albums for?
Name me the classic Metro album, Mike.
He didn't come up in an album era. He didn't. And many could say him and Future got a classic together. Many
What,
could
Dirty
say that.
Sprite?
Many could say the Savage Mode classic for its era. Brother Gabe with the super
Savage
chat
Mode is
says,
great, but it's not a classic. It's great though.
"Ooh, Brother Gabe said Draymond suspended indefinitely by the NBA. Wow,
Good.
good.
Mental health is real. That nigga need to go get some help.
He doing too much, man.
He's worse than Kanye.
I have no comment for that. All right,
I
so
bet
we
not,
got,
because you about to cape and put this nigga at the top of the list. I'm about to tear your list apart.
and then I got Dilla.
What number is Dilla at?
Dilla is at number 11.
So you have Metro ahead of Havoc.
Got Metro ahead of Havoc.
You think Mask Off and Bad and Bougie is better than Shook Ones Part 2? Quiet Storm?
I think it could be.
How? Explain. No, explain your
From a-
rationale.
Yeah, from a production standpoint, I think
So
it
you
could
think-
be for certain eras.
So you think Bad and Bougie is a better beat than Shook Ones Part 2? Because you
I
talking about
don't.
no, you talking about singles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Shook Ones Part 2 and Quiet Storm versus Bad and Bougie and Mask Off.
What else you got,
Explain
though?
yourself.
Do you really, would you like to go 20 deep?
You don't want to go 20 deep with Havoc
You
with
want to
Metro.
go 20 deep with
You
Metro
don't want to
and
do that. I
Havoc?
love Metro. You don't want to do that with Havoc.
I would love to do that.
I can do that with the first 2 albums and beat you. What are you talking about?
It's all Mob Deep stuff, though. It's the versatility,
So
too.
what? RZA shit is all
Versatility,
Wu-Tang shit. You got RZA higher than Metro. It's all
Well,
Wu-Tang shit, ain't it?
No, it's not, though. It's Wu-Tang shit, and then it's the individuals in the group.
What part?
We've
What group?
talked about
Individuals in what group?
but they're all different.
Are they part of the same group?
We've said this on the show before.
This list is trashy.
What's amazing about what RZA was able to do inside of Wu-Tang is the fact that he had Ghost and Ray in a certain chamber. He had Jizza in a certain chamber. He had Old Dirty and Meth in a whole different chamber. He had Bobby Digital in a different chamber. So yes, he was producing for the same group, but it was like 5 acts that were totally different from each other.
So in today's edition of According to Hip Hop, OJ didn't do it. Lil Mama got done wrong, and Metro's better than Havoc.
I got Metro over Havoc by 1 spot.
I don't give a damn.
I knew that was gonna be man. We got to do a whole tournament with this. This would be great.
You don't want to do that.
So I got Dilla at 11, and I got Hit Boy at 10. The album making came in.
Oh, the album maker came in for Hit Boy, but not for Metro.
No. I mean, Metro just got a whole lot of individual songs, man.
Name them.
Come on, man. We'll be here all night.
No, Mask Off and Bad and Bougie, and after that, what, Mike? What classic songs has he produced?
That's it. You think
No,
that's
I'm
all
asking
that
you to
Metro
name
has?
them. I'm asking you to name them.
I want to get through this list.
Right.
We'll be here
You can't-
forever.
No, we won't, because you can't name his classic songs like that outside of Bad and Bougie and Mask Off.
He
Nothing
has
against
so
Metro.
many.
Name
Come on.
them.
All right, I'll go through them. Let me
You
get
be
through
asking the
this
chat
list.
to name some fucking ludicrous rhymes. You name some Metro classic songs. Right.
That's way
right here
different.
today.
No,
it's the
'cause
same
he has
thing.
so many, man.
And people think Luda got so many verses, and much like Vim, you sitting up here stalling.
Bars should actually stand out.
When we get done, beats should stand out too. When you get done, I want you to
I'm
name
gonna
10
go through-
classic
yeah.
Metro songs.
I'll go through it.
10.
So we got Hit Boy,
Wild.
because what he just did in this Nas run is special. And then I got DJ Paul and Juicy J at 9. Then I got Pete Rock at 8. And I got the Neptunes at 7. They were higher than I thought.
With
they would be.
what?
Man, they had hits everywhere, and they made Hell Hath No Fury.
Oh, now you like Hell Hath No Fury. Your list is all over the place. This
No.
is absurd. This is the wildest
Got
shit.
Molly Mall at 6.
This is the wildest shit, Mike.
I got Molly Mall at 6. And I got Q-Tip at 5. DJ Premier at 4. RZA at 3. Dr. Dre at 2. And Mr. Kanye West at the number 1 spot.
I would like to apologize to everybody that's watching According to Hip Hop right now for this list. We apologize for Mike D's takes.
No.
First
Don't
of all-
apologize for that.
First of all, before we get into my list, Metro songs, Mike. I'll let you pull them up if you want.
Hold on.
I'll look them up
Mall
for you.
7 with the super chat says Bink is a top 20 most underrated.
I thought
producer.
about Bink.
Well, you know who I didn't mention and who I think is the most underrated, and I need to rework my list just based on this, the Larry Smith and Rick Rubin. Prince Paul, man. It's my guy.
You didn't put Prince Paul on this list?
I didn't. It's an oversight. But, I'm still working on the list.
Let's pull up these.
Some things are going to change,
we
but,
pull- we
some of
pulling
the
up-
stuff's
no,
not
we
going to
pulling
change.
up this Metro shit right
No, because I want to see, where I'm at as far as, like, what parts I'm wrong with.
First of all, you're wrong at number 1.
Nah.
Okay, so what's Kanye's most impactful album?
His
Because you
Vulnerable.
just said on this show that impact is what puts it over the top when it comes to classic stuff?
Can I interest you in my beautiful dark twisted fantasy?
Can I interest you in Straight Outta Compton? What's more impactful?
Okay, that one came out.
And then The Chronic. No, I'm not done. And then The Chronic. And then Doggy Style. Okay. And then 2001. He's got 4 albums more impactful than my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. 4.
Does
1, 2, 3.
Does Mailman get any credit?
4.
Does Mailman get any credit?
Yes. The Glove gave him credit. And you know what else the Glove said?
You said 2001.
You know what the Glove said after we gave Mailman credit? Dr. Dre is still the greatest hip hop producer who ever lived.
He's pretty great.
You said on this show that impact is what put classic albums over the top. Is my beautiful dark twisted fantasy more impactful than The Chronic, Doggy Style, or Straight Outta Compton? Because if it's not, then your argument is nil.
So
and Kanye's not number one. You're not about to put him.
So
at
anybody
number
who
one.
made something in the '80s is just going to automatically win anyway, because that stuff is going to be way more impactful than something that came out 20 years after.
Explain the impact of my beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
It actually ushered in the next generation of artists. That verse that Ross had on that album, that pushed Ross forward in that era. That pushed Nicki forward in that era. She was next up. Even when you talk about Kid Cudi being on there, even with Pusha T's solo career, it starts really with my beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
You mean kind of like Ice Cube career starts with Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah.
Kind of like how Snoop Dogg career. Kind of like how Snoop Dogg career start with The Chronic. Now, who's bigger, Snoop and Ice Cube, or the niggas that you just named?
I'm just talking about my beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
Right.
I didn't even mention B. I didn't even mention The Blueprint.
The impact ain't there for you to say that. He didn't produce The Blueprint. He did 4 fucking records. Stop making it seem like
he is The Blueprint.
No, he's not, Mike. Man. No, you need to be real and stop caping for this nigga. How many tracks did he produce on The Blueprint?
He did.
We're going by production.
Records.
We're going by production credits. He did the core records. Name them.
He did Heart of the City.
1.
Never Change.
2.
Takeover.
3.
He did Izzo.
4.
Yeah.
That's 4 records out of 13 songs.
Girls, Girls, Girls 2, we know that was probably the first one,
5
right?
out of 14. 5 out of 13,
and
14.
that whole album was centered around those records.
Stop giving him record credit for The Blueprint. He didn't produce The Blueprint.
For B? What about Daytona?
He did Daytona by himself.
College
That's
Dropout?
Not fucking with Dre shit.
All
those records. Name the record. Name the record that you named.
3-year period.
Name the record that's better than Straight Outta Compton, The Chronic, or Doggy Style that Ye has done.
So we're not gonna count those trash Eminem albums that Dr. Dre produced?
Name them.
What do you mean?
Name the albums better than Straight Outta Compton, Doggy Style, and The Chronic. You're wild.
Hold on. So we're only gonna acknowledge Dr. Dre's successes. We're not gonna acknowledge the fact that Dr. Dre couldn't put out a Rakim album. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're not going to acknowledge the fact that Dr. Dre couldn't put out a Rakim album, right? We're not going to acknowledge the fact that he couldn't do anything with Eve, right? Everybody that Kanye had his hands on.
Kanye can't do anything with Kanye. He ain't made nothing good since my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. What about Nasir? What about the Ye album? What about Kid See Ghost? What about Donda?
Those are dope.
They're not fucking dope,
They're
Mike.
dope. At least they came out. At least the nigga makes music. At least he puts it out. He's not taking pictures in the studio and nothing comes out.
You're right. It's just when it comes out the last 10 years, it's fucking whack.
We're just going to sit there and give Dre credit for shit that happened 30 years ago, and he doesn't put out anything.
Because his legacy
what about the Eminem record?
His legacy is more impactful, period, point blank.
He has executive
Mike,
produced
name
all
the
these
album
Eminem
better.
albums.
That's wild, Mike. Name the album better than The Chronic or Doggy Style that Ye has executive produced.
More.
Name the album, Mike. You just said on this show that impact is what puts it over the top when comparing classic projects.
Can he do it again?
That's not what you said, Mike. Stop adding on to shit.
No,
Answer my question.
what I'm saying
Who has
is,
more impact, Dr. Dre or Kanye?
I would say for each generation it's different. For our generation, it's Dre. For a generation after us, it could be Ye.
You wild, Mike.
It could. He's the biggest artist in the world.
He's got more classics than Ye. You talk about all this work that Ye's done, he's still got more classics than the nigga. How about that?
LP with the super chat says Kanye has more co-producers than Dre, Mike. Okay.
No more parties in LA. He didn't do that.
No.
Right. He got more writers and producers than Dre. And he doesn't have the classic album run or the more impactful albums. He doesn't have the classic albums or impactful albums.
How did the documentary start? How did Dr. Dre get up and say, you know what, we're going to put this Game album out?
How? He actually called on 50 to help finish the album. When
he heard Dreams. Kanye had made Dreams for the Game. And the game said that, you know, when Dr. Dre
What
heard
the
that.
fuck does that have to do with
What I'm
Straight Outta
saying?
Compton,
No.
niggas for life?
Because
no one can do it better.
We're going to continue to
Doggy
go
style.
back to the 80s.
Mike, this is according to hip hop.
Yeah.
We go back into the 80s and 90s all the time.
I understand what you're saying. But if we're comparing it to somebody who's been working nonstop and continue to evolve versus somebody who stopped, I got Dre at number 2. Come on, man.
No. Kanye do not deserve no number one spot.
So number 2 is an insult?
It is a fucking insult. When this man has made more classic and more impactful albums. That's the end of it.
The fact that Dr. Dre hasn't put out anything, Coop, and you're caping this hard? Like, what's the last Dre classic produced album?
What's the last Ye classic produced album?
I ask you first.
Produce? Get Rich or Die Trying.
Man,
or the documentary.
That celebrates 20
okay,
years.
let's go down.
And the game said himself,
Mike, this is career
Dr. Dre
achievement.
never produced anything for him.
Mike, this isn't who did it most recently. This is who did it greatest. So let's go down Dr. Dre's catalog right quick, because you seem to have forgotten. Niggas for Life, Straight Outta Compton, No One Can Do It Better, The Chronic, Doggy Style, 2001, the documentary, Get Rich or Die Trying. That's 8 fucking classics, Mike.
Can we have
8.
Can we have a discussion without yelling?
Hell no, not when you put this nigga at number 1.
And this is one of my
He does not deserve to be number 1.
Talk?
It's wild, Mike.
Can I talk? This is one of my other justifications as well. As an all-around producer and arranger, I feel like Kanye's able to make a variety of great records, whereas Dr. Dre shit, his best shit is the gangster shit. And if you don't have anything outside of the gangster shit, we don't really want to hear that from Dre, right? It's very one-dimensional in that sense. I feel like I feel like Kanye can get you some street shit. He can get you some soulful shit. He could do Just to Get By. He could go out there and do Jesus Walks. He could actually go out there and do I'm Just Doing My Job for Tip. He can go take on an artist like a Common and actually get into that artist's vein. I think we were talking about this the other day, that he was able to take some of those, you know, the vein that Common and Dilla were creating and actually work around that. Whereas Dr. Dre, he has to take an artist, he's more of like a Coach K, right? You have to fit in the Dr. Dre system. We saw that on with Busta Rhymes on The Big Bang Theory. That album didn't sound like Busta. It sounded like Dre. Whereas Kanye's able to work with artists and get the best out of them and let them be able to be them, and he's more versatile with it. That's my argument.
That doesn't make it classic, Mike.
Because everything you're talking about, all those albums,
they're all classics.
They're great.
They're not great. They're classics.
They're classics. They're groundbreaking, but they're all in a similar vein. Whereas Kanye's vein and his musical palette is a lot more verse.
Mike, you yourself,
over a longer span of time.
You're lying. You yourself have talked about the difference between the Chronic and Doggy Style is that the Chronic actually has social commentary and rhetoric to it.
That's content.
And that they're not the same album.
Content, but from a production standpoint, they still hit on that same gangster vein. You know what Suge said on his podcast?
No, we're not bringing Suge into this. I'm not done.
No, I want to explain this.
This is wild.
Suge was like, you know, when Dre went off and did that Aftermath album or whatnot, you know, it was different. It was positive. He tried something different. He kind of even did that with Affirmative Action. Not Affirmative Action, but, you know, Nas Is Coming and stuff like that. And they were like, why didn't this work? Because niggas want to hear that gangster shit from Dre. And he does that great. He does that well. But somebody like Kanye does a little bit more than that. And that's all I'm saying. And that's why I gave him the nod more so on a skill set and diversity and versatile and being versatile over a time period.
You're not being consistent with what you said earlier this show. Earlier this show, you said if it's close, you go on impact when it comes to the classics. So how is Kanye?
I didn't.
Did he not say that?
No, I said no. When we were talking about albums, I said if it's close, I'm gonna go with the banger. That's different than we're talking about
Dre
a producer.
Too. It's impact and fucking album. How many classics has Kanye West produced, Mike?
Man, it's a lot.
Executive produced. No, not a lot. I want you to name them the same way I can name Dre's 8 classics off the top of my fucking head.
I understand what you're saying.
No, you don't. I want you to name it out so you can see the gap.
I hear what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying on top of the classic albums that Kanye produced. He actually went out there and produced individual classic songs for people he didn't make full albums with. The
like even Gwen Stefani, Let Me Blow Your Mind? You mean stuff like that?
That ain't no hip hop song. What are we talking about?
Eve not a hip.
I thought we were talking.
Hold on. Eve's record with Gwen Stefani is not a hip hop song.
I thought you were talking about the Gwen Stefani. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Rich
Let me
Girl.
blow your mind.
That song's not great. You know that.
That song is great, Mike.
That song was good for the time.
And that beat is great.
Are we serious, Coop?
Are you serious?
Coop, you really
sitting up here caping for a nigga that ain't made a classic album in 13 years.
I ain't never heard you mention no goddamn let me blow your mind on this show ever in 3 years.
Because you just said that Dr. Dre didn't have any versatility. As soon as I give you a record, you try to blow it off.
It's not that good of a record.
Neither is the shit Kanye been doing the last 13 years, but you're still putting him at number one.
Explain to Nas. You're telling me just to get by is not a great record?
Let me ask you something.
Just to get by is not a great record?
You said Nas is the greatest MC of all time, right? How'd that Kanye album, since Kanye is so good at working with artists, how come he couldn't make a great album with the greatest MC of all time in this era?
I'm going to be honest, Coop. A lot of great producers haven't been able to do that with Nas. That's why what Hit Boy's doing is so incredible.
Mike, that's kind of funny.
Because the Neptunes weren't able to really gel with Nas like that. Timbaland hadn't been able to gel with Nas like that. So you just named
two people.
And honestly, man, you know, that RZA record that was on the Lost Tapes too, I thought it was going to be better than it was.
It's the best record on there.
I thought it was going to be better than it was.
Mike, you making bullshit ass arguments. If Kanye is who you say he is, if Kanye is who we say he is, why couldn't he work with the GOAT and make a good album? It's literally might be one of Nas's 2 or 3
the album's not that bad.
Mike,
we did a whole podcast
where does Nasir rank?
Fact that it wasn't even that bad.
Where does Nasir rank in Nas's catalog?
It's lower because he has a great catalog.
Right.
But hold
on. So which part is it? I thought Nas had struggled with producers. And how does he have this great catalog if he struggles with producers? Doesn't struggle with Pete Rock, DJ Premier, LES.
They haven't made a full album with them.
And when he made a full album with Kanye, how did it go?
It was rushed, as you said, right?
By who?
By probably Kanye. The man made fucking Why you
not talking about the Ye album, Mike, from the 7-album run, that piece of trash? Why you not talking about Donda, Mike?
He made 5 albums in 5 weeks.
Nobody asked him to do that, Mike. Nobody asked him to do that.
You're critiquing,
and it's 35 songs.
Funny.
It's 35 songs.
It's funny. You're critiquing that
funny
same
how you're trying to make
era.
it seem like Dre is some old nigga.
You're critiquing the same. It's funny. We were just talking about how great Daytona is, right? It's one of the best albums of its era, and you're critiquing an album that he made 2 weeks after Daytona. Clearly everything was
okay,
right.
So if we're going for this era, he's won for what with making classic albums? How many classic albums has he made in this era?
How many classic albums has Dre made in this era?
No.
Not available.
No. We're not talking about Dre right now. We talking about Kanye. We talking about Kanye. Since you want to bring up how much he works and how well he works, how many classic albums has he made in this era? Because he's made a lot of albums, but he only walking around with one classic. So that clip he hitting that.
How many classics have even been made in this
that's
era?
like, Mike, that's like a guy who shoots 25% from the three-point line, but he shoots more than the other guy and you think he's a greater shooter. No. Just because you shoot more don't make you greater. He's got one classic from this era, and that's Daytona. The last classic he made was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So that's 2 albums in the last 13 years that have been classics. So
and has Dre made anything in the last 13 years?
So when you're talking about his work ethic, as if that's some sort of nod to him, that's actually a knock to him. Because it's showing you that although he works at this clip, he's not capable of producing the classic results that Dr. Dre has. Because Dr. Dre produced 8 classic fucking albums from 1988 to 2005 when the documentary came out. So you tell me what the math is on that.
What did he produce on the documentary? Because the Game said he's never produced anything for him.
Who you believe, the Game or Dr. Dre?
The Game.
Okay, why? Based on what?
Based on he's the artist who knows who made a beat for him. Why would he lie about who made a beat for him? And
I believe Chris the Glove Taylor.
Rewind. Who do you believe, Tupac or Dre? Because Tupac said the same thing.
Mike.
These are consistent stories.
Mike, Dr. Dre doesn't have any production credits on All Eyes on Me outside of California Love. So it's not anything to believe. He didn't take any production credit.
California Love
and I didn't bring up All Eyes on Me at all in this conversation because he didn't make any beats for it outside of one.
What did he make on the documentary?
He did 5 tracks. First of all, he did How We Do, the first single. Dreams wasn't the first single, Mike. He did the first single. Right. If I'm not mistaken, West Side Story is his beat. Don't Worry with Mary is his beat. And I'd have to check for the other 2, but he did 5 joints. He also did In the Club for 50, the biggest song from the biggest album of its era.
Okay, so you're going to count that with the documentary, but not count the Blueprint for Kanye? Why?
Because Because executive produced by Dr. Dre. The blueprint doesn't say executive produced by Kanye West.
Okay, so
does it?
okay.
Does it? Does it
Okay.
say executive produced by Kanye West? Yes
Okay,
or no?
okay. It doesn't. But
Right.
guess what? You're not counting all those Eminem albums that were executive produced by
And I'm
Dr.
not even
Dre.
bringing up
Does
Good
that
Kid,
not-
Mad City.
Oh, don't interrupt that.
Because he executive produced Good Kid, Mad City.
What
too.
about all those Eminem albums that he executive produced that were trash? Are we not going to count that to bring the grade down?
Just like we should bring Kanye's grade now for all those whack ass albums he's made in this era. I told you he's made two classics.
I'll tell you this.
You just said he made 5 albums in 5 weeks. How many of them were great?
And they're all better than those
one
Eminem
for 5,
albums.
20%.
They're all better than those Eminem albums.
Mike, everybody knows how you feel about Eminem, so
Those
you
albums
can't
ain't
be
great.
trusted to say that.
Those
you can't
albums
be trusted
ain't
to
great.
say that.
Anything
That's
after,
not hold on, Mike.
Anything after the Eminem show is not great. You know that.
Hold on, Mike. And notice when I brought up his 8 classics, I didn't bring up the Eminem show or the Marshall Mathers LP or Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay, go for the 8 again. Are we hold? Let's rewind. Is it executive producing or is it producing the whole album? Because I'm getting confused.
Executive producing.
Okay,
is
so you're
producing the
counting
whole
everything
album.
that's
Yes.
executive produced.
Yes.
So
Straight out of Compton.
So he didn't have to
I'm
produce
gonna
the
run
whole
it down.
album.
I'm going to run it down for you
Okay.
again. Straight out of Compton.
He produced the whole
Niggas for
thing.
life.
He produced the
No
whole
one
thing.
can do it better. The Chronic. Doggy Style.
Okay.
Get Rich or Die Trying. The documentary.
Well, he didn't produce everything on there.
He did
didn't
5
produce
beats on there, and
everything
he's the executive producer of Get Rich or Die
Okay,
Trying
he
too.
didn't
And even
produce
50 will tell you,
everything.
Dre helped me put that album together.
Okay, he didn't.
That's 7 right there. He's already got Kanye beat. That's without me bringing up the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem show, or Good Kid, Mad City, which he is executive producer of all of those albums. You need to stop.
I guess I'm
and
confused.
2001, Mike. I just named 11 albums, Mike. Kanye don't have 11 great albums. Even if you don't think all those albums are classic, you can't name me 11 great albums that Kanye West executive produced.
Andre Shashir with the super chat says, where would y'all put Nasheem Myrick on this list? He has some shit. I love Nasheem Myrick. OJ Winston with the super chat says, Mike, where would you rank? Oh, yeah. Did you got Nasheem Myrick?
He's actually the reason that I did a group list, because I realized that singling him out from Bad Boys Hitmen would be wrong, but he is clearly the best producer out of Bad Boys Hitmen, because he did Who Shot Ya, T.O.N.Y. Yeah.
OJ Winston with the super chat says, Mike, where would Lil Jon rank?
I thought about Lil Jon too. You're wild for this Kanye shit. I don't believe you came on this show.
No, I'm
and tried to
serious.
put Kanye at number 1.
I mean, because he
Dr.
actually
Dre.
is going to put out an album, man. You know, I'm going to be honest, man. I felt the way about the fact that Dr. Dre, the greatest producer of all time, in my eyes at that moment, had the greatest MC of all time in Rakim and couldn't put out anything.
Right.
Now, I honestly,
I'd rather hear nothing
do
than
we
hear that
know?
Nasir album.
Well, at least the niggas put something out, man. No, I'd rather hear the Nasir album than hear nothing. I would.
Keep telling yourself
At
that,
the end of the day, I know if Rakim would have actually, signed to Kanye or connected with Kanye, he would actually came out with something. And we also know that when people like Pusha T end up with Kanye, you do get a Daytona. When people like Common, who've worked before Kanye, come together with Kanye, you get a B. You get a Finding Forever. It happens.
Mike.
When has Dr. Dre ever done that, Coop?
No, see,
everything is a debut.
You keep trying to break up your argument, and I'm just asking you. No. Let me run it down for you again. It's called Straight Outta Compton, Niggas for Life, No One Can Do It Better, The Chronic, Doggy Style, 2001, Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show, Get Rich or Die Trying, the documentary, Good Kid, Mad City. Now name the 11 Ye albums, Mike.
Are we executive producing now, or are we talking about if you
you
the
talking
whole
about
album?
you talking about agility. So hold on, don't you think it's agile when a guy can not only make beats but put the beats together from other people to make somebody's album? Is that not showing a level of agility? Like the documentary and Get Rich or Die Trying? Because I'm gonna tell you something. That's something Kanye can't do.
Really?
Where has he done it?
He did it pretty well on B.
He took 2 Dilla beats, Mike. It's not that hard.
Well, no, Dilla was actually alive still.
He took 2 Dilla beats. It's not that hard.
That's not hard.
No.
He's done it with Big
Style-wise,
Sean's career.
style-wise.
And you know what else he also did?
Mike.
You know what his name was on?
You're not answering my question.
No,
though.
I am
Is executive
answering you.
production not a
Yes.
form of agility as a producer?
It is. And
Dr.
I
Dre
think
has
that
executive produced 11 great albums. Name the Kanye albums,
I mean, when you
Mike.
got everybody doing the work, I mean, it is what it
wild.
is.
This nigga wild.
It
LP
is
just
what it
told
is.
you Kanye got more writers and co-producers than Dr. Dre. So when you talk
LP's
about everybody,
talking shit. He
you want to
hates
pull up the credits,
Kanye.
Mike? Go pull up the credits. He's
Who
not
else
lying.
who else did work on Daytona?
Mike, John Bryan.
Who else did
Hold on,
work
Mike,
on
John
Daytona?
Bryan co-produced the entire Late Registration with Kanye.
Yeah, and so did Mailman co-produced the whole 2001, and you're giving Dre credit for that.
No, but
we got to be consistent here.
Right. But here's the reality of the matter, and here's the difference. Executive produce. Dr. Dre can take a 50 project or a Game project or a Kendrick Lamar project where he doesn't be the producer on it at all and be the executive producer of it and put it together. Now show me where Kanye can do that.
Do you really feel like he put those together? Because all of those artists you named, them artists was already making projects before they got with Dre anyway.
That's why 50's mixtape stuff is at the end of Get Rich or Die Trying.
Exactly. A lot of those records were already made,
Mike,
bro.
it says executive produced by Dr. Dre. How many?
And you know what?
I just named you 11 albums. 11 albums.
All Eyes on Me says that too.
But I didn't count that in this one.
But why not?
Because he only did
his
one
name's
beat.
on there.
Because he only did one beat.
He executive produced it, right?
No. Everybody knows that he
name's
did.
on there.
Everybody knows that he didn't, Mike.
But so how do we know that he did the other ones and he didn't do that?
Because the artists have said so, except for Game.
Game said, yeah.
Okay, so Mike, let's keep it real. The documentary of all the projects that he's executive produced might be the weakest one. So let's take the 11 down to 10. Still got that ass beat.
I mean, what I'm not understanding, Coop.
I'm not understanding why you're not naming Kanye's classic albums.
No, I'm about to catch you up. I'm not understanding why you're not counting All Eyes on Me. Dr. Dre executive produced
Name
that
Kanye's
too?
classic albums for me, Mike. I've asked you like 10
Dr.
times
Dre
on this show.
that too?
Mike, I've asked you like 10 times on this show to name
We all
Kanye's
know
classic
what Kanye's
albums.
classic
No, we
albums.
don't, Mike. I'd like to hear you name them out so you can understand how absurd you are.
I'm confused. Are we talking about executive produced albums or are we talking about produced from
both,
end to
just
end?
like we are with Dr. Dre. Go ahead, go.
College Dropout.
1.
Graduation.
2.
Late Registration.
3.
B.
4.
Daytona.
5.
Then we got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
6. Your Arms Too Short to Box with Dr. Dre. That's not now you want to call it a classic, Mike?
It is a classic.
It's not, Mike. You just said there's some bangers on here. You know it's not a classic. Stop playing. You want to compare 808s to this shit, that Dr. Dre shit I just named? You're making my point for me. You're talking about a guy with 6 classes versus a guy walking around with about 10.
But does
where they do that at, Mike?
But Dr. Dre doesn't have like any individual bangers that he's given for other people. You're out here naming "Blow Your Mind" from Eve.
Mike,
that's where you're going,
Mike. He doesn't have to because his albums are the bangers.
So if you got no, if
Dre brings people to his party, not the other way around.
But see again, that's why I got Ye over him because Kanye could do both. He can actually bring you to his party. He can come to your party.
Mike,
Dr. Dre makes you
He's only done it on Being Daytona, Mike. He's only done it on Being Daytona.
He did it on the Blueprint.
He did 4 records on the Blueprint. He didn't executive produce it.
Oh, so now we're talking about executive production.
Mike, we've been talking about executive production. Does that not matter?
What I'm talking about.
Does it not matter?
Listen to what I'm talking about. Dr. Dre doesn't have individual records that he's putting on other people's projects. He doesn't have what Premier has in that light. Kanye does the best of both. He actually makes the albums for himself and for others, and he gives you individual joints.
Mike, he's not fucking with Dre's songs. He's not fucking with Dre's albums. I don't care how
agile
the nigga is. The fact
that you had to go to Eve's Blow Your Mind.
No, you asked for an example.
Story.
No, the story is
he doesn't have any singles that he's done for anybody else.
You need to stop.
Where's his album joints for other people's shit?
Hold on. Where's Kanye's top 10 hip hop records? Where's Kanye's top 10 hip hop albums?
Let me get to these soup chats.
Right. Now
no, because you're not going to accept anything that I'm saying.
Name the top 10 rap album that Kanye West has produced, because Dr. Dre got 2 of them motherfuckers. Name the top 10.
Dark Twisted Fantasy. Mall 7 with the super chat.
Where's nothing but a G
I don't
thing
think
at?
Kanye is number 1. I'd have to say it's either Dre, RZA, or Primo. I can't choose. Let's see. LP with the super chat says, it's more impressive to drop a classic with new artists than it is existing ones. Half the battle is already done. Ye don't need to coach the rapper. I disagree with that. I think I think that's the whole difference between a college basketball coach and a pro coach. When you have somebody who has to basically deal with that artist's ego, have to deal with that artist's habits, that's different than having to get a whole new artist and a blank canvas where you can mold that individual into what you want them to be. Many people have even said this. Prince Paul was one of the people who said this as well. He's like, when he was with Stetsasonic, he had to kind of go into the mold of everything else. He wanted his own group that he could actually mold. De La Soul. Organized Noise said the same thing. When they had PA, they already wanted to do what they wanted to do, but they wanted their own version of PA that they could mold. Here comes Outkast. It's more difficult to actually get an established act and make classics for it.
That's
or
an
for them.
opinion, and that's conjecture.
Oh, no. That is an opinion, and I'm giving my reason for the opinion. But we also know that when Dr. Dre got the greatest MC of all time, nothing came out of it.
Nas is the greatest MC of all time.
Well, yeah. Rakim, Nas. Yeah, I got you.
No, we're not splitting hairs
And honestly,
we're not splitting hairs.
Oh, no. Honestly, when he got Nas, he had one of the weaker tracks on there. Actually, when he got Nas, you got the Firm album.
Executive
right?
Decision is actually a Dr. Dre beat, and that's actually one of the stronger tracks on there.
I was talking more so about Nas' Coming On It Was Written.
It's still on a classic album.
It's one of the weaker songs on there.
Still a
Brandon
classic
Dominique with the super chat says he got out. You look, Dr. Dre got outproduced on It Was Written by everybody on there.
It happens. Kanye's been outproduced on albums before.
When?
Who did You Don't Know on The Blueprint?
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, come on, man. What's your favorite J record? Mike, pause. What's your favorite J record?
Hold on, time out.
What's your favorite J record? Don't time out. Answer my question.
You don't know. But you're changing the whole argument, Coop. We're talking about every song on the fucking album being better than Dr. Dre's produced song It Was Written versus Jay-Z's best song being better than come on, man.
Mike, you
Heart
need
of
to
the City. Heart of the City is the second best song on the Blueprint.
First of all, you need to stop yelling at me, and you need to come down and listen to what I have to say.
You've been yelling the whole time
because you're saying some of the wildest shit ever.
You started the yelling, Coop. I'm not gonna just sit here and let you yell.
You've been sitting up here running around talking about how Kanye gave the Blueprint.
Yeah.
The best record on there he didn't even fucking produce. Stop that.
The second best record he did.
Stop. First of all, Heart of the City is not the second best record on there.
It's not. What's better than Heart of the City?
I think Never Change is probably better than Heart of the City.
Well, he produced that too.
Yeah, but he didn't produce the best record on there. So when you're talking about Kanye not being outproduced, it's like, yes, he did. He got outproduced on that album.
You think he collectively got outproduced on that album?
Mike, it's comparable. I mean, Izzo,
I
Mike?
don't think so.
Izzo, Mike?
Izzo was the first single. You gonna talk about first singles?
Didn't hold up well, and you know it. Lyrical Exercise? No, them beats is better. Bink did some better tracks on there too.
No,
it's okay.
So now you're telling me Bink did better tracks.
Them records on the Blueprint ain't like that, Mike, from Ye. I'm sorry. Girls Part 2 might be the best one, and that was some bonus shit, Mike.
Heart of the City ain't like that?
Heart of the City is like that.
Yeah,
it's not like better than You Don't Know, though. No, you were
Heart
just
of the City's the
Mike,
second
you were
best
just
song
sitting
on
up
the
here
album.
talking about how Dr. Dre got outproduced on the album, but when it happens to Kanye, you want to sit up there and make excuses.
No, cool. Dr. Dre got outproduced by everybody on It Was Written. It's different.
First of all, there's only two niggas on It Was Written. It's Trackmasters and it's Havoc, and then it's Dr. Dre. That's literally it. I think LES did Suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the Suspect beat is necessarily a better beat than Nas Is Coming.
I think that Nas Is Coming is probably the weakest beat on the album.
I don't agree. Watch
Bottom
them niggas.
two.
Watch
Bottom
them niggas
two.
is
Bottom
the weakest
three.
beat.
Brandon Dominique with the super chat says, Dre's sound can be seen as regional. I got Ye. There you go.
Okay. Mike, how many top 10 rap albums all time has Kanye West produced?
Oh my God, what's your list?
I want you to answer that question. You see how you don't want to answer any of my questions,
because
though? Because you act like that's not part of the conversation.
You're gonna say
is that not part
those
of the
aren't top 10 albums. I mean,
Mike,
I got
you honestly
now,
believe?
Granted, this is what I will say, and I'm gonna be fair.
Does
and
he have
balanced
anything
here.
fucking with the Chronic or
I'm gonna
Doggy
be
Style?
fair and
Yes or no?
balanced here.
Yes or no?
I'm gonna be fair and balanced here. I want to speak in full sentences. Dr. Dre has the Chronic and Doggy Style over every Kanye West produced album. But I think in the totality, when we're talking about album making ability as a producer, the versatility of working with different acts that's not in your camp, acts that are established, acts that are new, and also when we're talking about spot production, he circles all those boxes in ways that Dr. Dre just doesn't, I don't think.
Mike,
that's just my opinion.
Who's the greatest basketball player of all time?
I think it's Michael Jordan.
Is LeBron James a more all-around better player than Michael Jordan when it comes to doing all the things on the basketball court?
He is.
Then why don't you have him at number one the way you have Kanye at number one? Because it's the same argument you're making.
And you know what? I've said this on this show before. If somebody made the case that LeBron's better than Michael Jordan, I would say.
But you see how shaky your argument seems?
No, it's not shaky.
Let me finish.
I would agree with that.
Mike,
if somebody wanted to break down the longevity of LeBron James, the fact that he's the all-time scoring leader in the league, the fact that he's been doing this at a high level on the NBA level since he was 18 years old, to say that he's better than Michael Jordan, I couldn't disagree with any of that.
You still have him at number two, don't you? Because even for all that all-around agility that you're talking about, you know who the fucking man is. And so I don't know why.
That's a little different.
No, it's not.
Dr. Dre's not Michael Jordan. No. Because you know what? Because this is the way I feel about it. No, this is the way I feel about it, and I've said this on this show too. If we had two teams that were equal talent, one of those teams had LeBron, other team had Jordan, give me the Jordan team, right? In a 7-game series.
Same thing
but
over
if we're
here.
talking about going in the studio, and I got Kanye in this studio and Dr. Dre in this studio on a solo tip, Kanye's gonna come out with the album.
How do you know, Mike?
Because
when
he comes out with albums.
But are the albums better when they come out, Mike? It's not about
Dre shit doesn't come out.
Mike, it's not about Mike, it's not about when it does or doesn't come out. It's about what has come out. And what Dr. Dre has done is produce at a higher level. Do you understand if you were naming the 100 greatest rap albums of all time, he would literally account for 10% of them, not Kanye West. And that's really the end of the discussion at the end of the day, because we've talked about on this show when it comes to MCs and almost everything we do, it comes down to album making and impact. And when it comes down to album making and impact, Kanye West is not fucking seeing Dr. Dre.
Impact, obviously, because Dre is a pioneer. Dre's been here.
It has nothing to do with it.
No, it does.
The impact happens because there have been genre-changing albums.
Of course.
Like Straight Outta Compton is way more impactful than Daytona or B is ever going to pray to be. And it's just no changing that, Mike.
Well, honestly, when we talk
about
when we talk about the impact,
you're trying to take Dre's impact away because he's old. No, you've been calling it old and dated on here.
No. I'm not doing
when it comes out, it doesn't matter if he doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Number 2's not bad,
Mike. It doesn't matter if he doesn't make another fucking album. Kanye still ain't caught up yet. It doesn't matter how long it's been.
I disagree.
All that versatility don't mean shit at the end of the day. Is the album a classic? Yes or no?
I think that Kanye is the better producer of the two.
Of what? Of rap albums?
Yes.
Then name the rap albums, because you had 6, I named 11.
Like I said.
6 to 11. It's not even a conversation.
You name me the actual singles from other people's projects, because Dr. Dre never had to do that.
But Mike, you've always said tiebreaker goes to album and impact, so that would lean
but
itself
Dr.
to
Dre
Dr. Dre.
doesn't have the singles. He doesn't. He doesn't have the production work on other people's efforts. He doesn't.
But Mike, you said the tiebreaker goes to albums and impact. Who has that? That would be Dr. Dre.
I think
so that's where your argument is flawed. Based on your criteria and critique this whole time we've been doing this show, Mike, you're wrong.
But it's not a tie.
Now you're pulling up.
That part's not a tie.
You're right.
That part's not a tie.
Okay, so
Dre doesn't work with other people.
So Mike,
everything
let's
is
look at it like
with
this.
him.
What does Kanye do better than Dre? He makes better singles for other artists. Is that what you said?
Oh, Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, when Detox drop, you're going to see that he's better than Ye. He's right. He's right.
Stop that. Stop.
I'll be waiting.
Stop that. Stop that.
November 38th.
Mike, so Kanye makes better singles for other artists, right?
I mean, songs on other artists' projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What else does he do better than Dr. Dre, other than that?
What else does he do better than Dr. Dre?
Yeah, because Dr. Dre has him on impact and classic albums and actually on singles from their albums respectively. Because I still ain't seen Kanye with a Nothing But a G thing as great as Jesus Walks is.
I mean, I see what you're saying, Coop.
No, you don't.
But no. The thing is, man, you're dwelling on a certain era, man. Like,
Mike, it doesn't
matter.
matter.
The thing with production, man, this ain't like rhyming and, you know what I'm saying, being an artist. Like, you never get too old to produce. Quincy produced Thriller at 50 years old. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so are we going to forever just have Dr. Dre at number 1 because of Straight Outta Compton, Niggas for Life, No One Could Do It Better, The Chronic and Doggy Style?
Until somebody comes along and does better. Yes, Mike.
But
it's not about
Coop, we've had
you have
this
to come along and do better.
Coop, we've had this discussion earlier in this show.
LeBron's not ahead of Mike because guess what? He hasn't come along and done better.
But to a certain generation, he has. And again, it's about what era you came up in.
These niggas don't
and
know
to
shit,
me,
though.
I mean, for you, Havoc's gonna always be over Metro.
No,
but for people who
came up on
Metro,
classic albums, we can have a conversation. As soon as Metro makes 2 classic albums, we can have a conversation.
Esquire with the super chat says, Mike's list has flaws for sure, but all things considered, I'm with Mike on Ye versus Dre comparison. It's debatable. Let's hear your list, Coop.
It's not. It's not debatable. It's 11 classics to 6.
LP with the super chat says, no one could do it better. Niggas for Life, Chronic, Doggy Style. Better than any of Ye's run, in my opinion. Ye got versatility, but not the impact. That's artistically and commercially. What's your list? Let's get your list going.
Muggs at 25. Daz at 24. I took Mr. DJ because I don't think Big Boy and Dre made them beats like that.
I had Mr. DJ on my short list, and I had Daz.
Got Just Blaze at 22. Timberland at 21. Manny Fresh at 20. Rick Rubin at 19. About to surprise you with one. Pimp C at 18. People forget Pimp did the Underground King stuff from a production side. I got Metro at 17. Eric Sermon at 16. Prince Paul at 15. Dilla at 14. Pete Rock at 13. Madlib at 12. Large Professor at 11. Hit Boy at 10. DJ Quick at 9. Alchemist at 8. Havoc at 7. Q-Tip at 6. Kanye at 5, where he belongs. Marley Marl at 4. Preem at 3. RZA at 2. And Dre at 1, where he belongs. I have Kanye appropriately ranked.
Is there anybody in the new era that's on the list?
Mike, I just said Metro.
Okay. I mean, where's Metro?
17. Hit Boy, 10.
Mm-hmm.
You can say Alchemist is both eras. He's 8.
Is Alchemist both eras?
Yeah. Did he not?
He's doing a lot of work.
Did he
now.
not do Alfredo in 2020? Did he not do Price of Tea of China in 2020? He would be this era. Madlib is still in this era too. He did Bandana and Pinata for Freddie.
I think Madlib and Alchemist are more. Yeah. I would say that
Kanye's not this era. If that's the case, right? You forgetting how old Kanye is. When did the College Dropout come out, Mike?
Oh, that was like 20 years ago.
Okay, so he's not this era either. So if Kanye's part of this era, so is Madlib and Alchemist. You don't get to split your hairs.
What do you mean? Nah, I don't think they're part of this era.
Who? They're more part of this era. They're more part of this era than Kanye is, especially in terms of quality.
Alchemist is extremely active, but I wouldn't say that he belongs to this era. I guess I'm thinking more so, the younger producers that weren't around in the 2000s.
Metro, Hit Boy.
Yeah.
17 and 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Esquire with the super chat says, of those 11 albums, Dre produced 5 of them in full. Yeah. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, respectfully, love Dre, but Ye is slightly better. A lot of those beats Dre get credit for, he didn't do. And if he and Ye are given a sample, Ye wins.
First of all, you can make a beat without sampling. Like to point that out to everybody. It's possible to make a beat without sampling.
Does Dre do that?
And second of all, y'all keep acting like Kanye made all these beats by himself. Go read the production. Read the production credits, because one thing Ye is actually good about is giving people credit. Right, and so you understand that most of the shit that you're talking about has help. I just told you. You name one of his classics, it literally got entirely co-produced by a guy. What are you gonna say to Ye? You talk about Dre. You talking about Dre having help, but you don't act like Kanye's had help. LP tried to tell you Kanye's actually had more help than Dre by the credit and by the fact, Mike.
Really?
Yes. It's a fact.
Because what about those Daz records that we all know that Daz produced?
And
and I'm just gonna be real. Snoop has said this himself. He said Daz made the beats on Doggy Style, but Dre produced it. So from a hip hop
executive production?
No. From a hip hop standpoint,
executive production.
From a hip hop standpoint, Kanye's never had that kind of help.
That's
just saying.
So what you're talking about is a beat maker. I'm talking about a producer. You want to have a beat maker conversation? Then Dilla's at the top of this list.
Kanye does all the things. Kanye's a producer and a beat maker.
Let's not act like Dr. Dre can't make beats.
What's the last beat he made?
When the last beat Ye made that was hot like that?
Shit, the one that Freddie Gibbs is on.
According to you, wasn't nobody in here knocking their head to that shit except for you.
People was loving this shit.
Who?
People in the chat. What y'all think about
They
the
said Freddie got verse of the year. They didn't say that song was like that.
It's hard.
No, it's not. Mark.
Actually, man, the Praise God beat hard. T Nitty with the super chat says,
I'm talking about Dr. Dre, and you got Praise God.
Well, I mean, Dr. Dre didn't make anything.
He doesn't have to.
What's the last beat he made?
He doesn't. Listen to what I'm saying.
You're not
very
going to answer
carefully.
that question.
No. Listen to me very carefully. He doesn't have to. He's made 10% of the 100 best albums we've ever heard. It says executive produced by Dr. Dre. And that's not counting the All Eyes on Me shit that I didn't even include in this conversation. Stop acting like this man can't make a beat when you heard them interviews by Chris the Glove. Stop acting like he's a beat maker, a producer, and an executive producer. And he does all of those things at a higher or comparable level than Kanye. Cool. And he has more impact.
I have him at number 2.
I don't give a
Why
damn.
would I even say that he can't make beats? I have him at number 2. And you're acting like number 2 is such an insult.
It is. It's an insult when you want to put Kanye ahead of Dr. Dre.
The reason, the reason why he's at number 2 is the fact that We all know that other people made a lot of those beats.
Just
Some
like-
of those things are unclear. And we know that
And
he's
Ye
in the
had the same
studio
help.
all the time and nothing comes out. And we also know that when established artists come around him, we get nothing. We've never even gotten a follow-up to him and what him and Snoop can do, actually.
Hey, Mike, what
T-Nitty with the super chat
tilted
says,
the scale in your Jay and Nas argument? When you like Nas is clearly the greatest MC of all time. What was it?
it's two things.
It was the album making. Okay.
Yeah, it was the album
So
making.
Dre don't get that nod over Kanye, though.
No, because
Because you could say Jay is still more versatile than Nas.
I don't know if I can say that now.
Based on what?
Based on how versatile Nas has proven to be at this stage in his career.
Do Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg sound anything alike to you? Do 50 Cent and The Game sound anything alike to you?
Time out.
Does Eminem sound like any of these guys?
Time out.
No, you talking about the
No,
artists.
time out. I'm about to break all of that down for you. First of all, he didn't really produce much for Ice Cube. We're talking about Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton is a Bomb Squad ripoff production-wise. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Now we talking about ripoffs.
No. I'm just saying.
Kanye is a Q-Tip and Dilla ripoff then.
No.
Go.
I want to finish. So him producing for
Q-Tip
Ice
Dilla
Cube,
ripoff.
for him producing for Ice Cube actually didn't happen.
Q-Tip.
Now Snoop Dogg,
Mike, he
produced.
did the beats for Straight Outta Compton. Ice Cube is rapping over those beats. What are you talking about? He didn't really produce for Ice Cube. That sounds fucking
those
crazy.
Those are Bomb Squad jacks. That's why when Ice
And
Cube,
Kanye shit is a Q-Tip and Dilla jack.
And that's why when Ice Cube left NWA, where did he go?
And Kanye,
to the Bomb Squad,
and Kanye
right?
shit not a Q-Tip and Dilla jack then.
No.
How
He
not?
had his own flavor.
Mike, you just said on the last show that he's off the Dilla and Q-Tip
Of course,
tree.
that's not a ripoff.
How not?
Listen, Straight Outta Compton is a straight up Bomb Squad ripoff production wise. It is.
Mike, you sound wild.
It's true.
If
is.
Dre is ripping off Bomb Squad, how come Kanye ain't ripping off Q-Tip and Dilla then? Explain the difference
That's
to me.
inspiration.
Oh, it's inspiration.
As opposed to
Nigga, you sound wild.
As opposed to taking the production style from an album that came out the same year. It is what it is.
Mike, you
those
said,
are whole time
Mike,
out.
you said
No.
yourself about B that you didn't even know Dilla did those beats. Because Kanye shit sounds so much like Dilla.
No,
but you sitting up here trying to call it inspiration.
It was one
you
song.
Trying to call it inspiration,
one
Mike,
song.
You full of shit.
He was
Mike.
able to have his own sound in it. When you have Niggas for Life, not Niggas for Life, that album was a lot more original than Straight Outta Compton. Q wasn't on that. Straight Outta Compton, those drum loops, straight off of the Funky Drummer. Everything that
Kanye's sample game ain't straight from Q-Tip?
Listen to what I'm saying.
Is Kanye's sample game straight from Q-Tip?
Time out. You're not letting me finish.
You talking about some inspiration, Coop. Mike. You lying.
Coop, you're not letting me finish. He's using the same exact loops that Bomb Squad was using on It Takes a Nation for Straight Outta Compton. That's just fact. So he didn't really. So what I'm going to say is, let me just go step by step. So let me finish real quick and I'm going to let you rebuttal, right? When it comes to the Ice Cube thing, that was more of a Bomb Squad thing. That's why Ice Cube went straight to Bomb Squad after he left MWA,
You're trying to take
right?
credit away
Production,
from Dr. Dre right now. You are
no,
wild,
I'm not.
Mike. Yes,
I'm
you
just
are.
We're splitting hairs, just like we do with everything else. I ain't taking no credit away from him. He's still number 2. But when it comes to Snoop, we all know that Daz and Chris the Glove said this too in your interview. When they were on the Chronic tour, Daz had a studio in there that he was utilizing. And him and Snoop were in there making Doggy Style, right?
Correct.
So, when it comes to producing,
beats.
So when we're talking about producing Snoop, he has some help with Daz on that, right? And when it comes to Eminem, Eminem makes a lot of his own beats. He does. And that's just factual. It's documented.
Mike, let me ask you something.
So when you're speaking to the versatility,
Mike,
there's a lot of factors in there.
You get on this show and you talk about Thriller all the time. Quincy Jones didn't make all the beats on Thriller.
He didn't.
He didn't make damn near any beat on Thriller.
That's why I call Rod Temperton what I do.
He was what on Thriller, though?
He was the producer. He brought it all together.
The executive producer of Thriller, right? Mm-hmm. So let's stop acting like executive production doesn't matter the way that you talk about Michael Jackson.
I never said that.
Kanye is not in Dr. Dre's lead as an executive producer. You're talking about Kanye as a beat maker versus Dr. Dre, the beat maker. I'm talking about the overall encompassing producer, and that is Dr. Dre, because you don't have any evidence that supports that Kanye West knows how to executive produce a classic album like Dr. Dre does, because the count is 11-6.
If you have 6 executive produced albums that are classic, I think that's a pretty good.
I said comparable, not when it's not Mike. Having 6 is great against anybody else, except for when the other guy you're up against has almost double.
Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. So you think that Dr. Dre's strength is in executive producing more so than just
He's the Quincy
straight
Jones
up.
of rap.
Of course, we've said that on the show many of times.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually beat making and producing for things that you're not executive producing projects for, or not executive producing on, excuse me, how strong is he in comparison to this person?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Since you want to split hairs, I believe, and this is from Chris the Glove, he did almost all the beats on The Chronic, which is a top 10 rap album. So when he's at his best is still better than Kanye's best, because for whatever you want to say about a Bomb Squad ripoff, which, by the way, is a wild, disrespectful take.
It's true.
It's a wild, disrespectful take.
That.
It's a wild, disrespectful
That's
take.
why I hold Niggas for Life so high.
Hold on,
because
Mike.
he found his own on that one.
Mike, Niggas for Life is a classic. He did the beats on there. No one can do
Incredible.
it better as a classic. He did all the beats on there. But Mike, then there's The Chronic, which Kanye doesn't have an album sniffing that in terms of the production. Beat-wise, Nothing But a G Thing, ring a bell, Mike. Let Me Ride, ring a bell. Or executive production-wise, he still doesn't have anything touching The Chronic. So when you're talking about this whole beat-making thing,
I think
it's
you
like,
misunderstood my question.
No. I understand your question.
Because I'm talking
He still
about
has The Chronic
I'm
making a
talking
beat.
about what he has done on projects that he does. His name is not on executive.
And
producing.
that's fine. And I'll give him that one thing. Everything else, Dr. Dre. That's why I keep trying to
Everything
tell
else.
you. Yes, he even has bigger hit records still. Like, Mike, you want to go beat battle with Dr. Dre? Because I can leave out.
I would love to.
I can pick literally the beats that Dre did and still beat your ass with Kanye, because you don't have no Nothing But a G Thing over there. You don't have no album like The Chronic that you did almost all the beats to.
We need to do this first.
Wow.
We need to do this.
You need first of all, you need to take this Tupac L, then you need to take this Dr. Dre L. West.
Do y'all really want to see the Tupac and Big, or do y'all want to see the Dre and Kanye? Because I'm ready to do this Dre and Kanye.
You don't want to do it, Mike.
I really do.
No, you don't.
Because all your shit's gonna be one-dimensional gangster shit.
It's still gonna be better than your shit, though, Mike. How
with
about
the
this,
super
Mike?
chats.
Mike, who's the all-time leading scorer before LeBron?
Kareem.
He got most of them points with one shot. Nobody said a problem with him being the all-time leading scorer. It don't matter about how you score. It matters that you score. Stop trying to do this little style point thing.
Would you say that Kareem's the greatest overall scorer ever, though? Because you say it all the time when you talk about Kevin Durant's scoring ability. It's about his versatility in scoring, right?
But guess what? I don't have Kevin Durant higher than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
As a
now,
scorer, you don't?
He's a better scorer overall. I don't have him as a better player overall, though. You're talking about Kanye's versatility.
I have him as a better producer overall.
He's not, though. The only thing that he does better is work on other artists' projects. That doesn't make him better. That makes him more versatile. There's a difference between being more versatile and being better. Dre may do what he do, but much like the Skyhook, you can't stop that shit.
We got to move on. This is great, though. T Nitty with the super chat says, Mike, you forgot Watch the Throne and Find It Forever. I know. It's so much.
That's not classic.
And I'm going to,
I name classic albums. Not good albums. I name classic albums.
Oh, I got a breakdown for you, Coop, man. I can't wait till next week's show. I'm going to bring all the notes.
Oh, you're going to need more notes.
No.
I want you to line up all of your Kanye shit.
Yeah, we're going to line up everything.
all my Dr. Dre
We're going to
shit.
line up everything.
And we're going to see who has the more classic songs, classic albums, and who's the better beat maker. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like, no, Dr. Dre is a beat maker for an album. Dre still has The Chronic, Mike. Kanye don't have one fucking beat tape better than that on any of these albums you're talking about, and you know it.
So who? Huh? Top 10 in every category.
Want to run it down? You don't want to do it, Mike. You're going to look bad.
LP with the super chat says, John Bryan did more on LT than Daz did on Doggy Style.
He did. It's true.
LT means late registration, right?
Yeah. The T and the R next to each other.
I mean, listen, man. Are we really going to hang on to this John Bryan thing forever? Because honestly, I remember when John Bryan was brought into the fold, Kanye made a big deal about it. The fact that, you know what? I want to get a producer that's going to be able to help this album be better. And that's cool. Like, we never say anything. No. We never say anything when we talk about 2001 being produced by Dr. Dre and Mailman. No one ever goes out there, and I'm not talking about you because I know we've done extensive conversations about this, but no one sits there and gives Mailman fucking credit for next episode. And they should. If we're being honest, because 2001, as great of an album as it is, probably one of the best, if not the best produced album I've heard in that era, especially in that time period, we credit all of it to Dre. We do. But when it comes to Kanye, I guess because people don't really fuck with Ye like that. Oh, John Bryan did this and that. Yeah, like when nigga Daz did this and that. Warren G did this and that. Fucking Quick did this and that. Come on, man. Like, let's be consistent with it is all I'm saying.
We are being consistent with it. You're the one that's trying to make it seem like Kanye didn't have no damn help. That's why John Bryan's being brought up.
And he didn't have as much help as
and here's the reality of the matter. If you really want to know the truth, Dre inspires other people to get on his level. Kanye's whole studio fucking flow comes from John Bryan, Mike. He didn't have no stadium studio flow until John Bryan popped up. He was a rap producer before that. His time with John Bryan is what enabled him to expand and do the Graduations and the 808s and the Yeezus. And Kanye himself has fucking said that.
Cool.
So why is it okay for him to have that type of help, which literally expands his whole sound and changes his whole sound, but it ain't okay for Dr. Dre to have Mailman and Glove play some shit that fits on a Dr. Dre album that he gives them credit for.
And that's great. But they all have some level of help, right?
Right.
And you interview Chris the Glove. He brought some things to Dre, the G-Funk and all of that expanded Dre's palette. And that's okay.
Correct.
But we're not sitting there holding that over Dre's head.
I'm not holding it over Kanye's
Elizondo
head.
obviously added something to Dre's palette as well. Same thing with Scott Storch. He would say the same thing. You know what I mean? And, you know, it happens. And like you said, John Bryan brought that stadium flow to Ye. But when John Bryan was out of the fold, Ye was able to do Graduation without John Bryan and have that stadium flow. Even give that stadium flow to Jay with Blueprints 3. And give that to Jay for Watch the Throne.
Mike, when DJ Yellow ain't around after NWA, Dre's still making classics. When Chris the Glove is not around, Dre still makes classics. When Mailman and Mike aren't around, Dre still makes classics. So it doesn't matter who you put in the room with Dre. The consistent factor of all this classic album making is Dr. Dre.
And that's why he's number 2 and not those guys on my list.
But the reason that he's number 1 is because when he's in that room, the rate that he makes classic albums at far exceeds Kanye's. He works less and does better. The end.
He works less and does. It's funny.
In terms of what you put out.
Of all people, Coop, sitting here giving the crown to somebody who doesn't go to work.
No, it's not that he doesn't go to work. It's that you don't hear it. What I'm saying, as far as what you put out.
Why don't we hear it?
Because he has higher standards than Kanye.
Why don't we hear it?
Because he is hip-hop's perfectionist. He's not going to put something out unless there's a potential of it to be a classic, because that's what he expects of himself first. Don't be mad at him because he got standards, because those standards got him more classic rap albums than any producer in the history of rap.
LP with the super chat. LP with the super chat says, Ye said that he bit the drums off of Explosive. Same-ish. He did for This Can't Be Life.
Kanye biting Dr. Dre? No. No, stop.
Dr. Dre's one of the greats. Why wouldn't he?
The great.
The great. He's number 2.
It's number 1.